Hey everyone, it's Nick. Welcome to the YouTube channel where I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. Today, we are going to be doing Nick's Guide to Costco Etiquette. Now, this is things that I think need to be fixed about your etiquette when it comes to Costco, because some of you have been raised by wolves and you do not know how to handle the Costco situation. Because Costco is both the best retailer in the entire world, in my opinion, it's my favorite store, but also a completely aggravating experience. And it's not because of the team, okay? You Costco people, the people that work there, I love you. The Costco owners, hello, you're my favorite store. I love Costco to pieces. I love it, but it's you. So we need to have a tough conversation, okay? And I'm gonna give you some pointers on how you need to behave in Costco in order to make it a much more enjoyable experience for everybody, because right now it is not, okay? And it's because of it's your fault. Now you might be thinking, Nick, what qualifies you for making this video? Do you work at Costco? Do you know somebody that works at Costco? No to both questions, absolutely not. I am not qualified, except for the fact I've been an executive member since 2006. That's part of my credentials. And I used to live above a Costco, fun fact. So it was like kind of my neighborhood spa where I used to go a few times a week. I believe that makes me qualified. So let's dive into what I think are things that you need to be fixing about your etiquette and your behavior, quite frankly, at Costco. Let's get going. Okay, first on my list, I'm gonna come in hot right off the bat here, okay? And we're just gonna say that this is a hot take, and that is, I hate the sample station, okay? We need to talk about etiquette around the sample station because you all are clogging up the aisles. You're waiting in these lineups like it's the Soviet frickin' bread line, okay? For like a tiny little bit of pasta. And we all know that you know what Prego tomato sauce tastes like on a basic boring pasta, okay? We all know you know what that tastes like. You don't need to sit here for your tiny little spoonful of pasta, okay? You can calm down, you can pass it by. I hate the sample station. I loved it during 2020 and 2021 when the sample station was closed down. I actually love that. I was like, finally, we don't have these traffic jams at the end of the aisles getting into the sample station. So I hate the sample station, just so, like full disclosure, but let's talk about what you can do around the sample station if you insist on waiting 15 minutes for like a tiny bowl full of Rice Krispies or whatever you guys are doing. So let's talk about it. And I have visual aids because I came prepared. Okay, so this is taken at my Costco. We're gonna keep the people anonymous because we're not gonna name and shame around here, but like these people should know better. Okay, so this is the typical Costco setup, right? For a sample station, right here at the end of an aisle. And we got this is actually not bad. I've actually seen it way worse normally, but let's talk about where the situation becomes challenging. It's right here, okay, people? This section right here is a high traffic zone. We've got lots of carts coming in all over the place, but we've also got people out. There's a lot going on in this circle, and I'm gonna need you all to get it together and get out of that section, okay? So the sample lineup, in my opinion, should probably like go around here. This is kind of where it goes, because when you go this direction, you're blocking all the traffic from going through, and that is no bueno. That is not a situation that we want to get into here at Costco. By the way, I also think there should be a limit on how many people should be in lineup before you just get going, okay? If there's 3 people waiting for that tiny little sample, just move on, just move on. The hardship that you're causing the rest of us at Costco is not worth it for your 13 calories of whatever hell you're eating. So I would just advise you to move on. But if there is less than 3 people in line, again, we're looking for that flow that you're not gonna be blocking the huge aisle. And under no circumstances are you gonna be parking your car in that hot zone. We're talking about that circle area that I have there. There is absolutely zero reason, I don't care what it is. I don't care if your child fell off the cart. I don't care if there's a fire. You are not leaving your cart there. That is not an area that you are supposed to be abandoning your cart. Okay, we're gonna get to abandoned carts in a second here, but that is a high traffic area in the sample station because again, you're like, look at the sample station. It's taken up a lot of room. Like this area right here, half of it to maybe a third of it is the sample station. So we really want to be conscious of that area there to make sure that we're not impeding the flow of traffic. Otherwise, I will ram you with my cart. I will. I don't care anymore. I've lost the decency. Actually, I'm Canadian, so I'm probably what I'm gonna do is just glare at you while I go by. Just give you one of these. And that is Canadian for I hate you and I'm going to run you over. And I'm imagining that I'm running you over right now with my cart. But due to my Canadianism, I'm just gonna sort of like pass by and glare at you as I go through. But know that I'm incredibly frustrated and really wanting to run you over. I want you to know that. Be mindful of the sample station, stop blocking that area, and maybe 3 people per sample station. And if it's honestly like they're sampling the dishwasher detergent tabs, you absolutely under no circumstances need to stop. I'm sorry to the sample people that have to sample sample that. Nobody wants it. It's not an interesting sample. I'm sorry you got stuck with it that day, but under no circumstances should you be parking your cart there. Okay, next up on the etiquette list is going to be abandoning your cart in the aisle. Now, here's the thing. I actually will say, again, we're going to get a little bit controversial opinion here, but this is Nick's guide to etiquette, not Costco's official guide. Okay, there is no official guide because nobody actually cares about this but me. Listen, every aisle is a bit different. So this here, for example, like we've got the automotive and like, I don't know, what is this? The dog food aisle. There is so much space here. You know, feel free to just park anywhere over here. Honestly, this is totally fair game. Any of this section, absolutely totally fine. Again, under no circumstances though, are we taking up the middle of the aisle. That is just stupid. We're gonna get to that in a second. So by going in a section that nobody ever goes in and then grabbing a roast chicken, you can kind of go grab the chicken and then bounce back and put it back in your cart. I think that's allowed, but under absolutely no circumstances are you going to be abandoning your cart in the middle of an aisle. That is absolutely not okay if it is high traffic. Now, there's absolutely no circumstances where you are going to be abandoning your cart in a high traffic aisle. And let's be honest, at Costco, that is most aisles, especially most food aisles. Absolutely no chance. There is zero way that you are supposed to be actually abandoning your cart in those high traffic areas. I will allow it in areas like dog food. I will not allow it next to the crackers, okay? Or the nut section or something like that. We're not doing that. Or heaven forbid, the produce. Or again, dare I even say the roast chicken. Absolutely under no circumstances are you abandoning your cart there. Okay, and then included in this conversation, by the way, even if you don't abandon it, but even if you just stop, like you've stopped and paused, because you're pondering like, do I need 6 kilograms of mayonnaise, right? Like we all wonder that. If you're thinking that and you're like, I'm on the fence, pull over. Okay, I will treat this as an abandonment issue in that way because there's just no circumstance. So here we got a really good example of a gentleman who is doing it incorrectly. Notice that he is standing right in the center of the aisle. That is not something that we're gonna be doing. He would be better off going over here. Okay, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna park over in front of this gentleman. That is a much more appropriate place for him to be pulling over, for him to mull his decisions, because there's some big decisions at Costco. I understand that. No one's saying that these are light decisions. Does one need a 3-pack of Philadelphia cream cheese? I don't know. That is really a question for you to search your soul for, and I understand you might need a minute. Pull over. Never are you going to be doing that in the center of the aisle. Absolutely not. Plus, guys, this is dairy. There's cheese in this section. This is high traffic. He needs to pull over. Absolutely not. By the way, I'm going to link here quickly to a viral video of a man that just decided to go insane and start ramming people with his carts. Now, I would never condone violence against another person, another human being. I would say that I understand and I can have empathy for that gentleman at the same time. Like both things can be true, okay? So we can understand what he's going through while also recognizing that he didn't do the right thing. But I'm just gonna leave that one there. Okay, next on my list is gonna be people walking slow. And like, I have been known for a lot of things, but age discrimination isn't one of them. But I would say this tends to be a little bit more on the older demographic. Seems to be a little more of a challenge. And I understand you need a little more time while you're in the Costco, and I understand that. But I would still say that let's just, again, be extra cautious if you are incredibly slow. If you have small children, or if you find that you are just in general, everybody's passing you by at Costco, then I think it's for the best that you choose your moments when to pull over, and maybe if you decide to keep up with the flow of traffic, then by all means do so. Otherwise, you're gonna need to find an off-ramp in order to park your car, because the rest of us, we are there on a mission, okay? We have our Costco regulars. I've got the spinach, I've got the 3-pack of 0% Greek yogurt, I've got the avocados, I've got the lemons, like I've got the roast chicken, like I have the Coke Zero. I know my items, do you know what I mean? So like for that reason, I'm moving quickly, and therefore it's really important that you kind of get out of my way very, very quickly, okay? And again, I understand you in a moment. There's big decisions happening at Costco. Pull over when you need to, ideally in that dog food aisle. Okay, next up on my list of Costco etiquette guidelines, okay, and that is that you don't need to bring your whole family. Some of you seem to think that Costco is an event, and it's not an event. It doesn't need to be. It is just a retailer. It's just a store. I would recommend that you come on your own, or if you need to, bring a partner or a friend, someone else for support. I understand that, because then one person can push the cart, the other can put some stuff in the cart, and I understand that can be very efficient. Some of you though seem to take the fact that you want to take your 6 children, your mother-in-law, and 6 cousins, and maybe a few other friends and family with you, and you like to link yourself arm in arm as you walk down all the aisles. These are some big aisles, but they're also some big carts and big items, okay? So you need to be aware of that before you bring everybody and your grandma to Costco on a Saturday. It's important that you maybe walk single file, or maybe split up, or leave them at home, or leave them in the car. Those are all better places than in Costco, lined up next to each other, blocking everybody from actually doing their shopping on a Saturday. We're gonna need you to move along, and we're gonna need you to leave some of those family members at home. Crack a window or put them in dog mode if you have a Tesla, because I do not have the patience for everybody in there all at the same time. And also then I find that the more people are there, the more discussion there seems to be had on some of these items. And the more discussion there is, the slower you are. And please see point 3, that tends to be a problem. Okay, and then next on my list is gonna be checkout preparedness. Here's one of the best parts about Costco. Because it's a membership, we all know the deal. You know what I mean? This probably isn't your first time at Costco. You've probably been here before. If you haven't, welcome. We're happy to have you as a member. Welcome to the family. It's super fun here. Like, it's great. Once you get into it, you're really gonna get into it like me, and you're gonna start to make weird videos about Costco because you love it that much. But if you are familiar with Costco, then you know this show before, right? If you have a membership, you probably are quite familiar with the process. So I'm gonna need you to be really on your A game when it comes to the checkout. Okay, here's what you're gonna do, okay? And if you've never been, then take notes, because write them down, okay, and bring them with you. Put it on your notes app on your phone, because you're gonna need that when you get there, and you're gonna have time when other people are unloading their groceries to refer to this list. When you get to the front and you get to the checkout, first thing you're gonna do is, hopefully if the person up next to you, in front of you, listens to my etiquette advice, they are gonna put the little bar that's gonna advertise their credit card that you may or may not need, and they're gonna put that behind, right on the conveyor belt. And you are gonna leave your heavy items in the cart. Okay, now what qualifies as a heavy item differs depending on who you are. I would say anything like a flat of Coke and bigger or heavier is appropriate. Potting soil, leave in the cart. Do you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff, I feel like you can leave it. You got a power washer in there, go for it, leave it in the cart. But those small to medium sized items, you're gonna want those on the conveyor belt. You're gonna work quickly, okay? You're not gonna sit here and chitty chatty with all those family members that I told you that you should have left home. You're not gonna sit here and chitty chat, okay? This is not the time to talk to the worker either. She's got a plan, okay? She's done this before. She's worked here since 1994, because that's how long people at Costco stay. She's been there for a long time. She knows what she's doing, and she's gonna need you prepared. The expectation is that by the time you get to your next step, you're up to Matt, okay? The expectation is all of your items are on the cart. She should never be sitting there waiting for you to scan the card. Now get the card out, you're gonna have it ready for her. So as soon as she starts, she's gonna have her little gun and she's gonna point it at you. She's expecting that card ready. So you better have it ready. This is not the time to still be putting stuff from your cart onto the conveyor belt. This is not the time for you to be fishing around with the card. We know you know how this works. Get your membership card out so that she's ready for you. Immediately, you're gonna put the card away, you're gonna watch for your prices, you're gonna have everything sorted, and they're gonna start loading it in. If you need boxes, let them know very quickly, okay? So then you're gonna have everything ready and you're all good to go. Now you can start to rest easy, and then you have to pay. Do not pay with cash or check, okay? Because it's 2025 and no one wants to do that anymore. There is no reason why you should be paying for $900 worth of groceries with $20 bills. So get out your credit card or your debit card and move along, because we do not have the patience. Grab your receipt. Don't forget to get the receipt, because you're gonna need that in a second, and you know you do, and then move along quickly. Okay, and then next up, this is actually for the workers here, but I just wanted to float this out there, okay? We're now time to hand over your receipt at the end of your Costco purchase, okay? So you're now handing over the receipt. They say that they're checking to make sure that, like, you have the right amount of numbers. It's theft prevention. They can tell you whatever they want, but they want to make sure you didn't stuff a TV under there and didn't tell anybody. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's there for. Now, when you have little children, they're gonna want to draw on the receipt. And I get that, okay, all you little membership people, the people who work at Costco, I understand they're adorable. And I don't really care for children personally, but I understand a lot of you do. So you guys are gonna have to, like, draw something on the kids' receipts. Here's my little tip as I'm sitting there stewing behind you, probably angry because I've just had this Costco experience. I'm just saying, stick to like a flower or a sun or something simple. Sometimes I see you guys and you're sitting there drawing an entire scene. Okay, this is not the time and place to draw mom and dad and the 2 kids in the house, and then you got the sun and the garden and the blah, 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 and you're drawing all of this on the receipt. That receipt is gonna end up in the back, like under the seats of a Ford Explorer. That's the reality of this situation. So no need to go crazy on the receipt. I think the kid is fine with just drawing a little quick sun and saying, here's your receipt, enjoy your day, goodbye. I'm just saying, sometimes I see some insanity that's happening on some of these receipts, and I'm sitting there like, I picked the wrong person to check my receipt because I'm here for a good 25 seconds, which in Costco world is an absolute lifetime, while they're sitting there drawing some scene for some 3-year-old. I understand they're 3 and they want to see a drawing, but they don't care what it is all I'm saying. So keep it quick, okay? That's all I'm asking. Okay, and then finally we have the parking lot. Is there 3 worse words in the English language than Costco parking lot? I'm not sure there is, to be honest. I'm not sure. What do I have to say about the Costco parking lot, except just maybe like, you don't need the front, okay? You're gonna be doing a lot of walking. It's a big store. So maybe you need some assistance, in which case, fine, that's what those stalls are there for. But everybody else, like, it's like 6 stalls over, guys. Like, you can just park near the back. For me, it's like a LIFO inventory method. If you're familiar, if you've ever worked retail, it's like last in, first out. So if I'm the last one in, like I'm the last stall, that's good because it means I'm the first one out of the damn store. So personally, my advice is always take the perimeter. I mean, maybe I say that as a person who is like a reasonably fit person that is able to walk the length of a parking lot. If that is not you, feel free to find something closer. That is what they're there for. But for those of you that can absolutely walk like the 40 steps or whatever it's gonna be to get to the Costco, I highly recommend just taking the perimeter. Or even if there's like a Home Depot parking lot next door, I'll never tell, but just park there instead because they've got way more spots. Like I honestly don't really care, but just choose something really far away because y'all don't need the one at the front, because by circling the front because you insist on getting one of the top like 4 spots in all of Costco, you're clogging up the resources for the rest of us. Move it along. You're gonna probably need that little bit of extra exercise. Wouldn't hurt you anyway, so why not just choose something a little bit further to the back? And by the way, putting your cart away. So this is a tricky one, and I know I could be really just simple for you and just say like put your cart away and that's it. And I would say I agree with that generally speaking, but sometimes people start a new cart situation where it's not the official sanctioned, like Costco sanctioned parking space, you know what I mean, for the carts, cart depot, if you will. But instead they just like start putting in like next to a pillar, and then they like put a little cart thing there, and then pretty soon like there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and then there's 10, 20 carts that are all lined up here. If it starts getting out of hand, like 3 to 5 carts plus, I'm not gonna personally hold it against you. If you use that as sort of a makeshift cart depot, I will allow that. And I mean, that's a controversial opinion. Some people will just tell you that I'm a monster and that everybody should just put their cart away. And I will agree with that 99% of the time. But sometimes there is, you know what I'm talking about? There's a situation where you're like, that's like pretty good. And the guy has to get these carts anyway. So like, what's really the big deal? So long as you're not impeding other people. If it blocks a spot or it blocks people from getting through, no, death by guillotine, I say. You're done. You're done. Like, absolutely not. If it's blocking anything, I'm out. You're a monster and you should have your membership revoked immediately. But if it's like, you know, in the realm of like, it kind of looks like it could be a makeshift cart depot, I'll allow it. Okay, that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Welcome to my new channel, by the way. This is my first channel where I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. So that means don't expect that I'm gonna post every week. I may never post again. We have no idea. So feel free to subscribe or don't. I won't hold it against you. And I'm just gonna post here whenever I feel like it about whatever the hell I feel like talking about that day. So I'll see you all in the maybe next video. We'll find out. Okay, bye.